For half a century, the performance car world treated the rear wing as sacred engineering law. If a machine wanted to attack a corner at terrifying speed, the solution was supposed to be obvious. Bolt a huge carbon fiber blade to the back, accept the drag sacrifice efficiency, and force the tires into the pavement through brute aerodynamic pressure. That was the European formula. Stuttgart, Maranello, and Woking refined it, defended it, and turned it into a visual symbol of dominance. A giant wing did not just create downforce. It told the world that the car belonged to the highest temple of speed. But at the 2026 Beijing Auto Show, Xiaomi exposed a dangerous possibility. What if the wing was never the final answer? What if it was only a compromise that legacy engineering had learned to romanticize? With the SU7 Ultra and the Vision GT concept, Xiaomi did not simply present another fast electric car. It introduced a different aerodynamic doctrine, one where the body itself becomes the weapon, where air is not blocked by a wing, but pulled through the machine compressed beneath it and used to pin the entire vehicle to the road. If this architecture works at scale, the traditional hypercar wing is no longer a crown. It is evidence of an older age. This is not a story about another electric sedan with violent acceleration. It is not about touchscreen-sized luxury lighting software gimmicks or the usual theater of modern EV marketing. Those things may sell cars, but they do not rewrite the engineering hierarchy of an industry. What matters here is the deeper package Xiaomi placed under the spotlight. Reverse lifting body aerodynamics, an efficiency ratio claimed at 4.1 active airflow management, a 200 megapascal safety skeleton, and a battery protection system designed less like a floor panel and more like a thermodynamic vault. That combination is why this reveal matters. A traditional automaker usually attacks one problem at a time: more power, more tire, more wing, more cooling, more reinforcement. Xiaomi's proposition is more dangerous because it appears systemic. The airflow, the chassis, the crash structure, the battery shield, and the thermal pathways are being treated as one integrated physics problem. And that is the part Europe cannot dismiss as consumer electronics ambition. Xiaomi is not merely asking whether a technology company can build a fast car. It is asking whether a technology company can reorganize the physics stack of a performance vehicle faster than legacy brands can defend their old formulas. To understand why Xiaomi's design feels so disruptive, you have to understand the old religion of speed. For decades, the European performance establishment solved high-speed grip through visible aggression. The front splitter attacked the air, first cutting and compressing it near the ground. Then the rear wing took over, catching the airflow and forcing the back of the car downward. It worked. Nobody should pretend otherwise. This philosophy helped create some of the most capable track machines ever built. But it was always a bargain with physics. The wing gave the tires vertical load, but the price was drag. It stabilized the car, but it also built a turbulent wake behind it. It made the machine faster through a corner, but less efficient through the air. That is the contradiction hidden inside the traditional hypercar silhouette. The very part that makes the car look dominant is also a confession. It says the body could not generate enough clean downforce by itself, so the engineers had to hang a separate aerodynamic weapon into the wind and accept the penalty. For years, this compromise looked unavoidable. More grip meant more wing. More wing meant more drag. More drag meant the engine or battery had to fight harder just to maintain speed. Xiaomi's design attacks that compromise directly. It does not ask how to make the wing better. It asks why the wing should exist at all. The core of Xiaomi's threat is not that it removed the wing. The core is what replaced it. Instead of treating the rear of the car as the main aerodynamic battlefield, Xiaomi appears to have treated the entire body as a pressure machine. That is where the reverse lifting body idea becomes so important. In aerospace engineering, a lifting body is shaped so the fuselage itself helps generate lift. The aircraft does not rely only on wings. The body becomes part of the aerodynamic system. Xiaomi's concept takes that logic and turns it upside down. The goal is no longer to lift the machine away from the surface. The goal is to make the road pull the machine downward. That means the car is not simply slicing through air. It is managing pressure above, below, and through the structure. The cabin appears visually separated from the front and rear chassis masses, creating channels where high-speed air can move through the vehicle instead of being smashed against it. In a traditional hypercar, airflow often becomes an enemy that must be redirected by external devices. Here, the airflow becomes internal ammunition. The physics are brutal, but elegant. When air is forced through narrow sculpted channels under the body, its velocity rises. As velocity rises, pressure drops. That low pressure zone beneath the car acts like an invisible hand pulling the vehicle into the asphalt. This is the Bernoulli principle translated into a weaponized road car architecture. The strategic difference is enormous. The rear wing adds downforce by standing in the wind. A reverse lifting body tries to create downforce by organizing the wind before it becomes waste. One is a visible attachment. The other is an architectural decision. And if that architectural decision delivers enough grip without the drag penalty of a giant wing, then the old European solution starts to look less like genius and more like a beautiful limitation. This is where the numbers become dangerous. In performance aerodynamics, downforce alone is not the victory. Any engineer can create more downward pressure by aiding a larger wing, a bigger diffuser, or a more aggressive splitter. The real question is how much drag you pay for every unit of grip you gain. That is why the aerodynamic efficiency ratio matters. It measures the relationship between downforce and drag penalty. A highly advanced European track machine might sit around the 3.0 range, and that has long been treated as elite territory. Xiaomi's Vision GT concept is claimed to reach 4.1. If that figure holds under serious validation, it is not just an improvement. It is a warning that the old prediction models may be aging faster than the brands that built them. But efficiency is not enough. A car that generates clean downforce in a straight wind tunnel can still become unstable when the real world attacks it from the side. At 150 miles per hour, a crosswind is not a breeze. It is a lateral force trying to rip the pressure map apart. If the low pressure zone under the vehicle collapses, mid-corner grip does not fade politely. It disappears. That is why the stabilizing systems matter as much as the body shape. The vertical shark fin is not decoration. It acts like a directional spine, helping the vehicle resist yaw instability when the airflow becomes violent. The active boundary layer control hidden around the rear lighting area is even more revealing. By using tiny airflow paths to manage the trailing wake, Xiaomi is not simply letting air leave the car. It is trying to choreograph the exit. Even the wheel hubs follow the same philosophy. The outer shields remain visually clean and stable to protect the slipstream, while the internal rotating structures behave like small turbines, pulling cool air toward the carbon ceramic brakes and extracting heat outward. That means cooling, braking, and aerodynamics are no longer separate departments fighting each other. They are one system. This is the real break from legacy thinking. Europe perfected the art of adding aerodynamic weapons to the outside of the car. Xiaomi is suggesting that the next era will hide those weapons inside the architecture itself. Aerodynamic dominance means very little if the structure underneath cannot survive the forces it creates. A car that is sucked into the road at extreme speed is not living a gentle life. The chassis is being twisted, compressed, and loaded from multiple directions at once. Every high-speed corner becomes a stress test. Every curb strike becomes an interrogation of the frame. This is where Xiaomi's architecture shifts from aerodynamic theater into structural warfare. In a conventional crash structure, energy often moves through one or two dominant load paths. That can work under controlled conditions, but in a severe impact, energy behaves like a flood. If the structure does not split that flood quickly enough, the force looks for the weakest route, and that route may lead toward the cabin. Xiaomi's answer is a triple-path load transfer system. Instead of asking one beam to take the punishment, the impact energy is divided. Part of it is directed upward through the shock tower region. Part of it travels linearly through the main longitudinal beams. Part of it is driven downward through the subframe. The point is not merely to absorb energy. The point is to fracture the violence into several controlled channels before it can concentrate. Then comes the material claim that gives this system its menace hot-stamped ultra-high-strength steel rated at 2,200 megapascals. That number is not decorative. In simple terms, it means the safety cage is designed to resist deformation at a level far beyond ordinary automotive steel. The A-pillars, B-pillars, and roof rails are not being treated as styling constraints. They are being treated as a survival cell. The important physics are brutal. Crash energy does not rise gently with speed. It rises with the square of velocity. So when a vehicle is engineered to tolerate an impact speed roughly 20% higher than a standard benchmark, the energy involved is not 20% higher. It is about 44% higher. That is the difference between passing a test and surviving a more violent real-world event. This matters because performance EVs are heavy, fast, and brutally powerful. A 1,000-horsepower electric platform does not merely need acceleration. It needs a structure that can manage the consequences of that acceleration when physics turns hostile. Xiaomi's message is clear if the car is going to behave like an aerospace object. At speed, its skeleton cannot behave like a conventional sedan. And this is why the old European confidence begins to crack. The legacy formula assumed that motorsport experience would remain the ultimate moat. Xiaomi is attacking from another direction: computational design, material science, and crash energy architecture fused together. That does not make tradition worthless. It makes tradition insufficient. The final battleground is the one every electric performance car eventually has to face: the battery pack. Aerodynamics can make a car faster. A stronger chassis can make it safer. But if the high-voltage battery becomes vulnerable from underneath, the entire machine is still carrying its most dangerous weakness at the lowest point of the vehicle. This is the nightmare scenario for EV engineering: a sharp object on the highway, a broken metal fragment, a violent underbody strike. If that impact punctures the battery enclosure and reaches the lithium cells, the failure can escalate from mechanical damage into chemical disaster. Once thermal runaway begins, cell temperature can rise beyond 1,000 degrees Celsius, and the fire is no longer a normal fire. It becomes a self-feeding chemical event. The legacy solution has often been blunt: add thicker metal protection, reinforce the pack, accept more weight, and hope the penalty does not destroy efficiency. But weight is the enemy of every performance EEV. More mass means more energy consumption, more brake load, more tire stress, and more heat. Protecting the pack by simply making everything heavier is not a strategy. It is a compromise. Xiaomi's approach is more layered. Around the battery perimeter, the architecture uses a 1,500 megapascals honeycomb aluminum extrusion designed to absorb and crush before side impact energy reaches the cells. At the front of the underbody, a transverse anti-scrape beam acts like a mechanical guardrail intended to break or deflect road debris before it can travel under the pack. Then comes the underbody coating. Instead of relying on a basic protective layer meant mainly for moisture and light abrasion, Xiaomi describes a ballistic-grade resin coating beneath the pack. The message is not subtle. The battery is not being treated like a fragile energy box. It is being treated like a protected vault. That is why the puncture testing matters. In the original claim, high-velocity steel spike impacts did not compromise the pack's structural integrity. More importantly, even when cells were forced into failure under harsh low-temperature conditions, the thermal management system was designed to vent and control the heat instead of allowing the event to become an uncontrolled explosion. No fire, no detonation, no cinematic fireball, just a contained failure. That phrase is the entire point. The future of high-performance EVs will not be decided only by who has the most power or the fastest lap. It will also be decided by who can make failure boring. Because in engineering, true dominance is not when the machine performs perfectly on its best day. True dominance is when the machine fails without turning into a catastrophe. All of these systems only matter if they survive the one place where engineering mythology goes to be humiliated: the track. Not the press stage, not the launch video, not the studio render. The track is where aerodynamic claims, structural stiffness, brake cooling, thermal control, and software coordination either become real or collapse under load. That is why the Nürburgring matters in this story. For decades, the Nordschleife has been more than a circuit. It has been Europe's courtroom for performance legitimacy. If a machine could survive there, it earned the right to be taken seriously. If it failed, no amount of branding could rescue it. And that is the symbolic danger of the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra. It is not simply trying to enter the European performance conversation. It is trying to change the language of that conversation. The old vocabulary was engine noise, carbon wings, mechanical theater, and motorsport inheritance. The new vocabulary is computational fluid dynamics, pressure channel architecture, active airflow control, ultra-high-strength steel, and battery failure containment. That is what makes this moment so uncomfortable for legacy performance brands. Xiaomi did not arrive with a century of racing mythology. It arrived with a systems engineering thesis. It treated the car less like a mechanical sculpture and more like a moving physics platform, where air structure, heat, impact energy, and software all feed into the same battlefield. This does not mean Europe has suddenly forgotten how to build great cars. That would be childish analysis. But it does mean the old moat is no longer deep enough. Heritage can inspire engineers. It cannot repeal physics. A badge can shape desire. It cannot reduce drag redirect crash energy or stop thermal runaway. So the final message is not that Xiaomi built a fast EV. The message is darker than that. A consumer technology company has entered the sacred territory of the hypercar and challenged the most visible symbol of its authority, the wing. For 50 years, the wing told the world where performance lived. Now the body, the floor, the battery vault, and the pressure channels are beginning to answer back. The wing is not just dead as a design object, it may be dead as an industrial assumption.